Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BETSPERTS.
Ooh, welcome to The Deep Dive. Andy, looking good today, man. It's December. It is now the holiday season.
Oh my God, my fucking kids every day for like 3 days. He's 7 now. He wants to know if it's like the day that you start eating the chocolates out of the advent calendar.
Oh, is today the day?
Finally, it is December 1st. Little bastard got to eat a chocolate for breakfast.
I mean, the gap between finishing your Halloween candy and getting the advent candy is interminable. There's
no like Thanksgiving candy.
No, it's not. Thanksgiving desserts suck when you're a kid. Who wants pumpkin pie? I don't want vegetables for dessert. What is this crap?
Yeah.
Give me candy. Yeah, no, I 100%
put some whipped cream on this gourd. So we are the stupid elf on the stupid shelf.
You're gonna make a dessert out of nuts? This is gross.
Christmas right around the corner. And we're here. We're ready. We're gonna go through the whole week. I think 4 teams on bye, so pulling out the Monday night game, 13 games to cover today. Enjoy having you here. Hit the thumbs up in the YouTube button chat if you're around, and let's get pumped up for this week. We had a kind of ugly Sunday night, ugly Monday night, hopefully exciting Thursday night.
LFG.
I think so, at least maybe for one team.
I think this is going to be a better game than we've seen from the Saints in a little while. Some of it's because of the switcheroo at quarterback.
That's the only hope.
Some of it is because the Saints, like, if they're ever going to try to quote unquote save their season, like, this is sort of the last stand, right? I mean, the market certainly thinks that. This number has moved into 4.5. Somebody out there believes in these plucky little bastards from the dirty South. What is your general read on how the Saints defense is going to match up against a fully healthy, for the first time all season, Dallas Cowboys offense? You're going to have all the horses on the O-line. You're going to have all the weapons in the passing game available. How many carries does Zeke Elliott deserve in this game?
Don't you think they continue? Like, he practiced all week, but they're still saying his knee is a little. I don't know if they're using that as an excuse.
Give him the day off. Give him the day off.
They honestly should. I would, I'd dress him just to make you prep for a couple different backs, and like you said, give him like 5 carries. Like, just take it easy on him. I think honestly, if they're going to be a fully healthy offense, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if Zeke's hurt or not. You got Papa Pollard back there. He's fine. This is the weird thing. It's not like this is rare either. It seems like this happens the Thursday to Thursday. Both teams playing on Thursday night actually got a full week of rest.
Every year it happens.
It happens now. It's a weird game to wrap my head around. Like, oh, just somebody, because you get to Thursday night and it's like, all right, who has the rest advantage? And I guess probably the Cowboys. They played 3 hours earlier, so we'll give it to the Cowboys there. But a big thing about the Saints is, like,
the Saints played last week.
Yeah,
if you can't see me, I'm doing very sarcastic quotations. The Saints played last week.
Josh Allen was crazy effective. Like, it wasn't like a big yardage number, and really touchdown passes are sometimes a little bit variance. Like, you go look at the Tampa Bay game. We'll get to that. Like, those all could have been touchdown passes. Just Lenny ran a couple in. Like, it's, sometimes that I think that stat can be misleading. But Josh Allen was 23 for 28. He just looked good against that defense. They made him look good, and that Bills defense looked pretty good again against missing a lot now for the Saints. Now if Kamara's out, like, this is a play on the Cowboys. If they're going to be healthy, I think he's out. You're missing 2 starting offensive linemen now at this point. You're starting a tight end at quarterback. I don't know if I trust anything about this offense. And if the defense is going to stink against the Bills, there's certainly, I think Dak is an upgrade right now over Dak with his full complement of weapons is an upgrade over Buffalo. He looked great. Like they lost the game last week. Go look what he did. He was a monster last week. He was fine. So I lean towards the Cowboys. If we get confirmation on a couple injuries, I'm probably playing him at 5 or under. I hate doing this on the road, but
I agree. I agree with you. No, I think that's fair. I mean, Josh Allen and Dak are kind of a wash as I look at their numbers this year, as I'm looking at them right now. Dak's he's had some ups and downs. He's been a little hurt. He's been under pressure at times, but with a fully healthy offensive line, and as you mentioned, he can choose Cooper, Gallup, Lamb. Like he can absolutely pick this team apart if he so chooses. The one good part about the pass defense for the Saints, Marshawn Lattimore. It was funny watching Stephon Diggs put him on roller skates last week. That was quite enjoyable. Buffalo came in with a good concept last week. They played up. They buried these guys. I don't think that we see this a repeat of that. I think this is a more competitive game. For what it's worth, these two teams tend to play uglier, lower scoring games when they've gone head to head. I will never forget last year. The Dallas Cowboys came out of the gates. Their first 3 games. Was it last year or 2 years ago? We'll say 2 years ago, actually. They came out of the gates first year under Kellen Moore, back when this was under the previous regime, the Clapper regime. And over the first 3 games, that offense was superlative. They were elite. They didn't even have CeeDee Lamb. Didn't matter. They were so good. And then game 4, they went to Superdome, and everything changed. They played slow. They played for field position. They kicked field goals instead of going for it. I think they scored like 10 points, and that was kind of an eye-opening wake-up call. And not saying that has any bearing at all on this game. It's totally a dependent sample. But for whatever reason, Dallas tends to play these games kind of close. And similarly in a close-fought game that was similar to Thursday night's game, Week 1 against Tampa. Where they were in that game the whole time. They lose a close one. They came out the next week and played the Chargers, and they played them tight. They played field position. They played keep away. They just dominated time of possession. Wouldn't shock me if that's plan A here for the Cowboys. But you mentioned it, no Mike McCarthy, so maybe they really do. Maybe Kellen Moore takes the Ferrari out for a spin. Ferris Bueller's Day Off here.
Yeah, maybe he just
really
tells Quinn to bleep off. I'm doing what I want. I don't have McCarthy in my ear telling me, we're gonna feed Zeke these swing passes anymore. We're gonna play some good ball. And Ramczyk, Teron Armstead, both questionable. Even if they play, that's an issue if they're banged up with Andrus Peat already out from earlier in the season. If you're going to be missing 3/5 of your starting off a very good offensive line from the beginning of the season, that's going to be an issue against a pass rush that has sort of gotten home at times for Dallas. I think that's been a nice little bright spot. So if any of these injuries are trending that way, I'm going to bet Dallas, and I'm probably going to bet Dallas anyway.
Are you? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope it's a close game at halftime and we find an advantage play on the Cowboys second half, because that's kind of where I want.
I'm already doubling down.
People are all Twitter about Ben McAdoo. I didn't know Ben McAdoo was on the Cowboys staff. He's a consultant. What does that mean?
That's a perfect job for him. A guy with his name,
Ben McAdoo. Is it a perfect job? Do you want any consultation from Ben McAdoo? I don't. Not in my life.
Let's not even relive those years. Yuck. The McAdoo years were yucky.
Yikes, man. What a weird staff. Absolutely. Dan Quinn, it spooks me a little bit. Yeah, hopefully this is Kellen Moore takes the Ferrari out for a test drive. I would love to see it. 47 is a low total. That's starting to trickle up. Most of the action one way here on Saints. Is that what you're seeing?
No, I saw some fours to start.
I saw fours because I saw 6 at Circa get bet to 5.5, get bet to 4.5, get bet to now flat 4.5.
I saw 4s in the market earlier.
You could have laid 6 at Circa on Monday, man.
Well, I'm glad we didn't do that.
Yeah. You think? Yeah, no, I think the 29th. Yeah, I'm seeing it was a setup. Okay. This is a setup so they can get the game day limits down on them boys.
And them boys.
All right.
It opened 4 some places. We got bet up, and then there's resistance. I don't know. Okay. People trying to middle that 5 now that 5's so modal. I've seen tweets about it. Minnesota heads to the Silverdome, the Pontiac Silverdome.
I mean, just imagine if this is the 6-1 game. That's a 5-point margin.
That is a 5-point margin. The total would come under. So yes, the Vikings head to Detroit, to Motown, to Hamilton North. Going to be laying points on the road here against the dreadful Lions, who their margin of defeat over the past 3 games is like 5 or 6 total. Like
one of those was a 0.
One of those was a 0. That helps keep your margin of victory low or margin of defeat low, but they're playing teams close. And I mean, some of it was the competition, and obviously you saw just Pittsburgh look dreadful in that game. And I mean, last week it was kind of just another uggo, I guess, if you want to call it that, with the Bears winning by 2 late. It feels like they're close, but at the same time, Minnesota's offense is good. They're not going to be in a 14-16 game. His defense has had some issues, but if it's getting back to health, and there are a few pieces that are looking like they're going to be hopefully returning, good teaser piece. I see 7.5 a lot of places, honestly. Not a bad teaser. I hate laying it here. I would not lay points with the Vikings. Yeah, Dan brings up no Swift. I said this real early in the week. I said I'd be thinking about taking the points with the Lions. Not having Swift really stinks for that. And
Andy,
Jamal Williams is fine. Like he's run good, but at the same time, like, man, that's you're really in a bear cupboard now.
All I have to say, don't overthink it. Vikings cover this 7. It is a sweet, sweet, sweet spot to be laying 7. Do you remember 2 weeks ago, the Detroit Lions were 13-point dogs to the Browns? Why be scared of 7 here with the Minnesota Vikings team that has an offense that can score points?
That's fair.
This is, honestly, your little sample of their average. Their average.
Yeah, those were 3
deficit.
ugly games.
Those were 3 ugly games.
3 ugly quarterbacks.
And you know what that was? That was you endpointed me there. Go forth.
I know. You go one more. One more.
I mean, they lost 44-6 to the Eagles.
Yeah, let's not completely just endpoint, though. They did have, if you want to just start cherry picking instead of endpointing, they are weird. They've had other games where they lost by 1 or 2 points. And then, yes, they've had numerous blowouts as well. The Niners game to start the season probably should have been a blowout. That was a weird lot of garbage time backdooring in week 1. But, I mean, they've had it's more than those 3. They've had other close games. I can't quite figure out what is going on with teams.
One of those other close games, ironically, was against Minnesota.
Was the Minnesota Vikings, yeah. Vikings should have lost that game.
I will point out, though, however, that the market told you that the Vikings were 11 points better on the close there in Minnesota. And I'm not even sure that you have the same quality Goff now that you had then. Goff was playing better football then than he's playing now. Dan Campbell was calling plays last week. How'd you like that? That looked pretty good to you? You're gonna expect them to be able to execute whatever the hell that was? I don't think so, man. Vikings get a cover. Vikings finally get a cover as a favorite in this one. I believe I laid the 7. Not my favorite play of the week, but it's one that I don't think this one is one that you regret. Like, holy crap, why are the Vikings determined to make this a 1-score game? Also, by the way,
do you think the Dalvin Cook thing is depressing it a little? Because it shouldn't, really.
Absolutely, I think it is. And you remember what happened last time Dalvin Cook didn't take the field? Madison ran a fucking muck. He ran amok. Yeah, he was running amok out there. And they won by 10. Was that the game against the... I don't remember which game that was, but that was like one of the handful of games that they like legitimately did not have a problem covering, if I'm remembering correctly. Do you remember which game that was? Was that the Panthers game?
Yeah, maybe.
They did have trouble covering
the Panthers game was a trouble covering game.
Jamar
Jefferson played Thursday, I believe. He was suited up Thursday. So, yeah, probably see some Williams, some Jefferson. And if the Vikings can get some pieces back on defense, yeah, I think you're right. I'm still teasing it.
The last time they played the Lions, they did not have Cook. Madison ran for 113 yards, and they barely won. So
they should have lost that game. They were so
they should have. They should have. You're right.
All right, Drew's taking the Vikes. I did.
Vikes for me.
All right,
What's the
same
Vikes?
exact. Here's the exact
Goal.
same game. Here's a touchdown-ish road favorite against a crappy NFC North team. Andy Dalton, decent yardage last week. He did look semi-decent. Again, it was the Detroit Lions. That you're going to look good against them, even if you are Andy Dalton.
You think
Kind of
he
a
looks
lack
good?
of. I mean, just from a yardage standpoint, like he didn't bottle it. He didn't screw anything up. He was fine.
Okay.
Like go look at his box score. Kind of look at his
Let me take a look
his
at that.
metrics.
Real
It
quick.
wasn't.
You can go ahead.
It wasn't a horrible game. They just couldn't punch it in. And then Arizona now, hopefully getting everybody healthy. If Kyler's healthy and D-Hop's healthy, this should be 10, right?
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Andy Dalton's EPA per play 0.23. That's a solid game for 44 plays.
It was a weird, the EPA doesn't
how
match
did they
up
not
with the
cover?
scoreboard.
How did they not cover this game? Jared Goff's EPA per play, by the way, 0.0.
You
Good
could
job.
you could have just snapped it to a running back, and it would have been the same.
Not their running backs. No, you could not.
No,
have
God,
because
oh,
they were all
God.
negative. They were all negative. Yeah. Okay, so let's assume for the purposes of this handicap that Kyler Murray is back. Let's assume for the purposes of this handicap that Hopkins plays. I'm not betting this game. I would lean Cardinals, but I really would like to see what kind of form those guys are in, particularly Murray. The last time we saw Kyler Murray, he was limping off the field against the Packers after losing on Thursday Night Football. And at that point in time, we knew he was dealing with a number of injuries. It wasn't just the ankle. He was having a shoulder thing, a finger thing. He was really beat up. And if week 1 Kyler Murray shows up in this game, it could be 41-0. I wouldn't be surprised. In general, Cardinals defense, I think, matches up well against the Bears. They do some blitzing.
If they want to be, if they want to be throwing, like Buda Baker's been good. I don't know who the other corner is, but Byron Murphy's good, and they've had a good pass rush, and like you said, they've had success blitzing, and this is the most sacked team in the NFL. It's not the most sacked quarter. It's nice that they've played 2 quarterbacks, actually 3, I think, and they've got to split up. They got to share the sacks. It's not just one man taking the brunt of it, but they're the most sacked offense, and a lot of that comes down to a poor offensive line, a couple poor quarterbacks, and receivers not getting separation. So, yuck.
They've actually only played 2. There's been no Nick Foles snaps this year.
There hasn't been. I feel like he was. I'm incepting I'm going to say he did play. I'm going to incept myself into it.
Okay, maybe he took some snaps and kneeled, but I don't remember it.
I don't think. I think you're right. I don't think he
got
did.
to kneel. Anyway, okay. So this is an information collection opportunity for me. If you want to be a CLV, if you want to pay for, if you're trying to collect CLV so you can pay for your kids' Christmas presents, I think you're fine laying the 8 with the Cardinals. That probably closes 10. Am I crazy? And
once all the players are confirmed in, it's just going to shoot.
Yeah. How about weather in this one? Can you also collect some CLV planning over here?
Not looking great for the weather.
Okay,
it might be ishy in Chicago. Yeah.
So pass, because that's a wash. If it's bad weather, but Murray goes
41-3.
Doesn't really help you.
That'll be a funny one.
Doesn't really help you.
Lean Cardinals. I think if you believe in the injuries, 8's going to be cheap come Sunday.
Are you going to tease Cardinals?
I think so.
Okay.
Cardinals.
I have a better
pretty teasery.
I have a better second leg than Patriots.
No, you don't.
Oh,
that's subjective.
I can tell you with almost mathematical certainty. Okay. Tampa Bay, Atlanta.
I said pleaser.
Oh, pleaser. Oh, sorry. I don't have
either way. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta is a fun one for Tampa Bay fans, I guess. Atlanta technically alive for the playoffs.
That's the thing too. Well, they have the same record as New Orleans, and you said New Orleans fighting. This is a last stand, stay in the playoffs. Anybody with 5 wins is definitely in the mix. Minnesota was 5-6, sitting in the 7th seed before Washington bumped them out with their win on Monday night. 5-6 is very much in the mix, despite how bad some of these teams are and what's going to happen down the
locker room. The locker room dynamics are different. it's a last stand for New Orleans because they have lost 4 straight and a 5th loss. You probably guys in the locker room are all like, we don't got it. Atlanta has been win one, lose one. We'll beat the Dregs. We'll get our brains beaten in by the good teams, like for the last handful of weeks here. So, they're treading water. They'll be in the mix. They may be a team that can put something together at the tail end of the season, even if they lose this game at 5-7. I don't think that guys in the locker room are like, well, let's start making plans for January in Cabo. I think this is still actually, if you're in Atlanta, you probably go to Cancun, Bahamas. Probably go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I'd go east.
Yeah, you're not going to You're not going to
Nassau.
Yeah.
Funky Nassau.
Yeah, you're making your trip. You're making your reservation at the Atlantis.
Nice. So cold here.
This number is high. 11 is high. I think fair is probably under 10. There's a little bit of a tax here to back the favorite. But Tampa Bay
in Atlanta,
is the better team.
I have like an 8.8.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
I'm not playing it.
I'm not playing it either. I'm not playing it. I didn't actually even think about this one.
Right. Yeah, Ryan's looked pretty rough. They didn't even really need monster days out of the passing game. Playoff Lenny. They're not a team that's ever going to give Leonard Fournette 25 carries. Like they're not a volume running team. They're a team that out of all their offensive plays, the proportion of them that are passing plays is the highest in the league. They're always going to throw. Whoever AJ Terrell's on, you just throw at somebody else and you go win the game. I don't think it's like a complicated blueprint to winning this game. You go down there, you get it done, but it is one of those two where, so you're up by 10. A team does not have an incentive to win by more than 2 scores late.
Especially Tampa. They've done that to us a bunch this year.
Yes.
They let Philly in the back door. Never forget that one. They let the Giants in the back door. I can't remember. What was the Giants' margin? Now I got to look this up. Who did they let in the back door? They let they won by 20 against the Giants. They covered.
I think I washed that game out of my brain, man.
That was 2 weeks ago, dude.
I know.
That's what the holiday drinking will do to you. That was 2 Mondays ago.
Ryan he had that stretch of a few good games. He's been rough. He's been throwing a lot of picks. This Tampa defense, despite being injured, maybe not as strong in the secondary, opportunistic. That Winfield pick was amazing. The other game, like they have some players. They have some players. So yeah, no bet for me though. What do you think of this total though? If Atlanta can get on the board, what does Atlanta have to get this over?
13.
17?
I mean, I'm being disrespectful to
21,
the Falcons defense.
Probably.
Falcons defense did hold. You know what? I need to recalibrate because I was thinking back to when the Falcons played the Patriots 2 weeks ago, and the Falcons defense. I was like, oh, well, they let the Patriots score 26 or whatever it was. Some of that was defensive scores. So yeah, this Falcons defense did hold the mighty Mac Jones to like 16 points offensively. So maybe they can keep touchdown Tommy into like a 30-ish point game. So I think actually you're right. I think they need to score 17 to get this to 45 to the over. Either way, I think that is a perfect price realistically. So I didn't play it. Should we move on? This is the teaser of the week, and it's 8.5 at a couple places.
I like this one too.
The 8.5 down to 2.5 for your Colts, who are dynamite. And
you could do you think, and I'm not being facetious.
Yeah.
And I want you to answer this with the most honest answer in your heart. Do you think the Colts could win this game without Carson Wentz? And by without Carson Wentz, I mean
direct snapping to Taylor.
100% Wildcat. It doesn't always have to be Taylor. It could be Hines and then hand off to Taylor. It can be a wide receiver. Do you think they could win running the ball 100% of the time? I think they win that game like 60% of the time.
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't say it's a certainty, but it's a likelihood. No, absolutely. It's a likelihood. Yeah. Yeah, it's more than 50-50 that if they direct snapped every snap to Taylor that they win this game.
Should be able to impose their will offensively here, and then the Texans, despite some players being nicked up for the Colts. Texans offense lost to the Jets, man. If you can't beat the Jets secondary, what hope have you here? At home, I mean, it is at home. It's something, but and Patrick brings this up. The way the Jets ran on this defense makes me worried about that we're gonna. And you know what it makes me worried about? It makes me worried about I'm gonna have to sit in my fucking office on Monday and hear Jonathan Taylor MVP talk again. Just ludicrous.
You know why you hear this crap? It's stupid fantasy football. It is. It's stupid fantasy football. Fantasy football distorts reality about who matters, particularly this time of year. If certain running backs,
where's my Lenny
certain running backs
talk?
Are winning high leverage games for people in fantasy football, they just they just lose it all over themselves. I love this guy. He's so good. He won me my fantasy matchup. All right, nobody gives a fuck. So no, that is absolutely driving some of the reaction to, because explain to me what in the ever loving hell was going on with the reaction to the Tampa Bay Indy game where people were like, they didn't run the ball enough. Like you heard some of that, right?
Yeah.
I did like a triple take. I was like, huh?
It's more than a double take.
I did a triple take when I heard that stuff. I watched every snap of that football game. Frank Reich deserved a medal for his philosophy and approach from snap one to the final snap of that game offensively for being in it. I did not understand why people were so aggressively calling for Frank Reich accountability and not running the ball enough. That missed me altogether.
I don't have a lot to say about this game. So what's your favorite double take?
My favorite double take?
Like in a movie or something.
Oh.
That's a trope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. That's a really hard question. I got to think hard. What do you have one on top of your head that you can help me out with?
Yeah.
What?
Paul Rudd at the end of Wet Hot American Summer.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's
a really good one.
Perfect. Sexiest man of the year, Paul Rudd.
I'm trying to think of the best double take gifs I've seen. There's definitely some good double take.
You could just
gifs.
type in double take in Twitter while we're on the next game and come up with one. But
I'm gonna think about it, Andy. I'll think about it.
I don't have an appetite for this game. I don't like this total much. I don't know what to make of this. This is one of those where it's like, if the Colts decide to get squirrely, they can put up a lot of points, or they might just play it tight, keep it close, win by a few. Where one of those games where you win by 6 and it's just never in doubt.
Yeah.
So all right, Philly at Jets.
The Paul Rudd one is good. The Paul Rudd one is good. There's a really good Woody Harrelson one from Kingpin. Yep. There's a really good Arnold Schwarzenegger double take from God, I don't know what that is.
Total Recall? I watched Total maybe. I watched Total Recall the other day.
God, great.
You know what the most unrealistic part about that movie is that his name was Doug. He has this thick Austrian accent. My name is Doug Quaid.
Douglas Quaid.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the Jets.
He hadn't had the full accent coaching yet to that point in his career.
Sharon Stone was great in that. She's great in everything.
She was outstanding in that. Yeah.
Philly at the Jets, a team that has never beaten the other team in the history since the merger, 11-0. So,
dude, Rick Daddy,
weird.
Christmas Vacation mall shopping.
Oh, the mall shopping.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one.
We're gonna get hit.
Great double take.
Go to the Twitter post that Drew has this stream going on and just post a shitload of these double takes.
Double takes.
Ruin his mentions as we had to sit here and talk about the Jets.
If you think Zach Wilson, mentions haven't already been ruined for a while, you're in the wrong conversation, my friend.
I got that kid muted. Zach Wilson is a downgrade from anybody else strictly because he takes so many sacks, man. Yep. He's worse than Joe Flacco right now. And I don't say that lightly. I don't want to put that evil on anybody, but this is a bad spot for the Jets, man. He's just not there. He doesn't, everything nice we say about Mac Jones, everything nice we said about Joe Burrow and continue to say about him this year, it's the opposite. He doesn't look poised. He doesn't look ready. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look like he's comfortable going through his progressions. He doesn't look like he's comfortable controlling this offense. He doesn't look ready. Like, he just looks rough. And this Eagles defense kind of getting after people. I might just play the sacks over and watch the Eagles get there themselves and ignore the rest of this game. Do you have strong feelings on the Eagles?
Well, we played this under.
It was a bad loss for the Eagles. They probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
It puts them in a tough spot. They have the 5 wins, but they have one extra loss compared to Minnesota, San Fran, some of these other teams, even Atlanta and New Orleans. So they're a little further behind in this playoff race, but not out of it. Gotta have it game. What's up, Nutflush?
Nutflush, yeah, our guy. He's a San Diego guy, but he's a San Francisco Giants fan, so he's in hostile territory. The under, I think, is still a good look here. We played it at 46 on Monday, and it's born almost entirely out of the likelihood that Zach Wilson gets sacked 7-ish times in this one,
at least.
So, and it looks like Hurts is going to make it a go. He's going to make a go of it. He's going to give it a college try.
What number did you get?
46.
Nice grab. I agree with you there.
You called it out because it was high.
Oh shit,
at Chris. Do you remember this?
Yeah, we bet.
It was high. It was 46 was the highest number on the board at Chris.
I have so
now
much
45
going on.
there.
This was our only bet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and just with the fact that Jalen Hurts if his foot is, that takes away such a big part of his game.
Surely does.
The Eagles might lose this game if his offense takes a big step back because of that, which would be horrible and end their season eventually. Eventually the season will end for everyone.
Thankfully.
Time waits for no man, but yeah, either way, I do like this under quite a bit. I'm looking for the Eagles to maybe take a step back offensively. They didn't look good last week offensively.
I don't know how this
balls.
Isn't a rerun, honestly.
Hurts?
This feels like a rerun of last week. They probably win instead of lose, but it's still,
It's even the same city.
We're talking about an ugly, same stadium. Yeah. Yeah. Same, interesting note by Jimmy. I didn't realize how banged up Kelsey was. Yeah, I'm not running to lay the points here with Philadelphia. They certainly haven't proven anything. That number trickling up to a touchdown seems a little sus. But yeah, this doesn't really have a type of a wide open feel to get to 46, 47 points. So happy to be on the under.
Look at this
here.
guy. I should have talked to this guy before I went out. The Marine layer. It didn't ruin my vacation. I loved every minute of San Diego, but boy, yeah, that it was cloudy.
Yeah,
take him up on that.
You should have seen today. The fog today was intense, man. Pea soup.
Thicker than pea soup.
Yeah, it was out for a morning run or a cycle. You had it on swivel.
This reminds me of that Chargers game where I laid the look ahead. And you had to remind me 6 times that I bet the game like 2 weeks ago. This show was 2 days ago when we did our openers. Wild. So Chargers, speaking of,
it's alcohol that does this to you, man. It's weird.
I know. I was telling Drew that too. Like, we're in a ton of mixers that were being used when we drank out in South Dakota. It was just like we would mix it with ice until the ice ran out. Then you had to go all the way to the garage to get ice out of the deep freeze. Nobody wants to do that. So some of it was just straight whiskey. And I'm going to be doing that again Sunday. Chargers and Bengals, 3-point favorites at home. Paul Brown Field, I think. Still called that? I said Pontiac Silverdome earlier, so I know that one isn't quite right. Bengals, they're missing a certain something they had earlier in the season. They're just not getting any production out of their rookie receiver anymore. But luckily, T. Higgins stepped up nicely. That was I don't know how much I want to put on Cincinnati. Big Ben was off. Big Ben was horrible. that, I mean, his interceptions were rough. I mean, you've seen him coming while they were leaving his hand, like, oh no, like that might go to the house, and then you see it get jumped by a corner. And Cincinnati, you can't take away from a team who got a win just because the other quarterback played bad. They looked good on offense, and they ran really, really well. And as everybody knows, I mean, ad nauseum all season, the Chargers can be run on pretty easily. So I guess look for Mixon to have another big day. And you got to hope that, I guess, our guy Herbert gets it figured out. He's had some rough games. He's had some bad interceptions himself. And really, the Bengals defense, it's an okay defense. This is not, we're not going to mix these up with the Patriots or even the Browns sometimes. But who's your number 2 defense, Drew?
Let me take a look. Off the top of my, who's your number 1 defense?
Vikings.
Oh,
I'd have to look. I was just thinking of like how New England has played lately. Like if I took a small sample of the last month, New England's got to be there, right?
New England is in my top 5. Yeah, New England and Buffalo are in my but
Buffalo,
both begrudgingly, both begrudgingly are in my top 5 because I think both have had very, very, very soft schedules, particularly late for New England and at the beginning part of the season for Buffalo. Also in my top 5, Baltimore, who I find suspect defensively, the Niners and the
Niners defense has picked it up of late.
Where's my 5th team? My 5th team is actually Cleveland Browns.
Downtown Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mixon probably runs wild. Like this offensive line hasn't been great. Burrow.
This suck. There's not a good defense in the NFL right now.
No, there isn't here. I mean, you're right. It's not a year. It's not a thing we might ever have again.
Pats might actually be the best defense, even though
they're right there.
Have not been tested.
JC Jackson. Cincinnati's offensive line / Joe Burrow getting hit hasn't gotten a lot of pub, but he's been sacked a lot. And, knock on wood, he's managed to not get the bad sack from last year where you hurt your knee, but he's been hit a lot, and the Chargers can certainly get after it if everyone's healthy up front in their front 7, which hasn't been a thing they had a lot this year. So I don't have a strong take on this. I do like the under in this one a little. I think it's a titch high. If they're going to go heavy Mixon and their defense plays well again, I'd probably have this closer to 47, 48.
The game you're describing is basically basically Bengals Raiders. Like that's the game you're describing.
Can we get a weather report from the Queen City guys?
Game. What was the Bengals?
Not Charlotte.
What was the Bengals' final score against the Raiders? That one was one that should have gone over, and I was banging my head against the wall, and it didn't. 32-13. I think you can get a little more honest effort out of the Chargers than scoring 13 points here, but they've been up and down. No counting on those guys. No counting on them. You can't, hey, Chargers could come out, blow doors off here and look amazing and get the win. And I wouldn't be surprised, but I did not go run to the window and take these 3 points. No, thank you. That someone else can play that. And here's a couple things to note about why not.
Game.
It's a tough spot for the Chargers. Chargers were at Mile High last week in altitude. Yep. They went back to LA. Now they got to fly across the country and play in the morning.
Can you imagine following up altitude with spaghetti chili? Your body is not going to be right. I might just lay it with the Bengals here. I'm sorry, Drew. I had to just spit that out.
I can't imagine, especially if you're like a granola eating LA kid. That's tough on your system. Yeah, you're gonna have heartburn for days. Yeah,
eating trail mix with tree bark in it.
Yeah, the matchup you pointed out of Cincinnati's running game against the soft ass run defense for the Chargers is concerning. The Chargers potentially playing with their backs against the wall, going forward at every opportunity seems likely. I think this is realistically a very tightly contested game. Tough. No,
it's a good number.
Good number. And
I think I might be on this under, and I might regret it.
Okay, so tell me. If you had to bet either of these team total unders, are you betting under 26.5 for the Bengals or under 24.5 for the Chargers?
Probably the Chargers. And the Bengals can be beat over the top. Like that's a thing, but I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen the connection on the deep ball. I'm going to go back and look at some splits for the Chargers. I'm not betting this right now, but it is on the watch list.
Okay.
Just like Pee Wee Herman.
Oh yeah. Better be.
He's great in blow.
I guess if you, let's say that the price is right. Let's say that the Bengals have a better than 50% chance to win this game. Okay. Let's just put that in the queue for a discussion that I'd like to have in a minute. Okay. That would put the Bengals up to 8-4 if they win. Okay. And it would give them the tiebreak, obviously, over the Chargers. Let's continue down and blow right on by the New York Giants taking on the Miami Dolphins because
Jones' neck injury is a thing. Oh man, I'm not sure I can pull the Giants back up off the top. I almost said Glennon. Glennon's not there anymore.
Yeah, it is Glennon. Yeah,
it is Glennon.
What? Yeah. What? Here's where I was going to go. Here's the joke with that. What are the chances that there would be Glennon and neck in the same tweet, and it wasn't a joke about Glennon's neck? Because that's what came across the wire yesterday. Daniel Jones' neck injury, potentially Mike Glennon is a go.
Glennon, if Glennon is in on the bit too, he has to say something in the presser when they ask him, like, hey, you're starting this week. And he has to be like, my neck's fine. Just throw one of those out there. Just be on it, Mike. Yeah, I don't know that it's a massive downgrade. It's certainly not something I'm adjusting heavily for. Mike Glennon's obviously a career backup, but he's been around the league. And Daniel Jones has been up and down. You watched the Eagles game last week. It was marginal by both teams. It was a little rough, little bit of a rough hang. But I don't know what we're doing with this. This total. Look at this total too. Is there a hurricane?
I don't think so. It's just people aren't buying in the Tua experience, even though he's putting the data on the board that says he is legit.
That's the only discussion I wanted to have. Like over the last handful, and I think handful's probably right because let's call it 5 games. He's seemed fine. Like it's not spectacular, but he's not losing them games like he had been. Like is Tua going to be a starter in this league that is like, like I'm trying to think of a good analog for him.
I'm trying to think of a game where he lost the game for them. Where was the game that he lost the game for them?
All the games where he got injured and they had to start Brissett.
Yeah, I mean but if you're okay blaming him for getting hurt,
I am. He's
okay.
Put together loose, as they say.
He does seem to be a guy that finds a way to get hurt. They lost to the Jaguars.
Miami lost fun facts today.
Miami lost to the Jaguars. Oof. They lost to
fellow Andrew here.
Yeah.
Ooh, and the Twins just signed Dylan Bundy. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. God.
Tua did lose the game against the Falcons. He threw some red zone picks that took points off the board that really prevented them from winning that game. He did also lose them the game he lost me the cover when he played the Buffalo Bills. And he threw that gross pick at the end that gave the Bills the go-ahead touchdown, the front door touchdown. Still pissed about that. True accuracy reflects that was a win on my record this season. But yeah, the last 3 weeks he comes in, he gets the win against the Baltimore Ravens, and then the last 2 weeks plays very solid football against the Jets and the Carolina Panthers. His statistics are all absolutely spectacular. He's completing 85% of his passes over that tiny little sample there. He's got 3 touchdowns and only the one pick. He even got it done on the ground a little bit against the Panthers. I am not really buying this long term, but I do think it's going to be enough for them to beat the Giants. And hopefully they continue to string together wins in Miami. Maybe even hopefully they string together some covers, because it would be nice to have a nice little sell low opportunity on Tua later this season when he goes up against a legit offense that he has to go score for score with, because that is the secret to the Dolphins. The Dolphins go up against a legit offense that is humming. They are humming and they are clicking. then they're in trouble because going score for score is not going to be easy for these guys, particularly if it's outdoors, particularly if it's cold weather. Tua gets it done underneath. He does not have the ability to take teams to task over the top. He's going to have a tough time with the New England Patriots defense, particularly, I would say. And realistically, I think the Dolphins probably fall just shy of making the playoffs for the second straight year. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, it feels like whatever the tiebreaker is, they lose on that. Again, 19-way tie. Both conferences. It's going to be such an ugly thing. And yeah, Femi brings up Parker likely back in the lineup. That helps. I'd probably be if I had to bet this, I'd bet the Dolphins. And
I forget Parker is even part of the equation, and I honestly don't know how much he matters. Some of these other guys, the idea that Waddle was starting to get more of a wide receiver one role was probably long-term good. So if you take away some of his targets, I don't know if I'm feeling great about Parker being back. I don't know.
I think you're thinking of The Secret of Nim, Patrick. That's a good one about mice. It's an oldie. Giants have failed to break 20 points quite a few times. Yeah, the Giants team total.
Have they broken 20? I guess go back to the Washington football game. They did.
Sure they have.
Are there any other ones they broke 20? Hadn't been very many. Although they did fire Jason Garrett. So there's that. They scored 25 against the Panthers. Dude, did you remember that the Giants beat the Panthers 25-3 this season? That happened this year?
The Panthers have been such
I have tuned out the Giants entirely.
I've tuned out the Panthers, man.
Yeah.
They've been a very, very tricky game or team to figure out. So. All right, Washington football team they're asking the jackpot here. Well, asking the jackpot. Not only that.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even mean it. I'm saying they played Monday night. They played 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Washington will travel after a Monday night game and head to Las Vegas, who is off a Thursday night game. So you have the big rest advantage for our Las Vegas Raiders here. And
I forgot this was an ass in the jackpot game.
Yeah, ass in the jackpot. Derek Carr looked pretty good. They won. They got that done. It was a bunch of different things. The defense obviously gave up a lot of points, but Dak is very good. Like Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's healthy and everyone's healthy around him. He has games like this where he's very, very good. I do not believe Taylor Heineke is of that quality. He looks like the kid from Where the Millers, by the way. When he has his helmet off, he cracks me up when he talks. But he's gritty. I like. What are all the things you say about a guy who's like not that good, but he tries real hard? Because that's
he's cerebral.
He's okay.
The game is slowing down for him
a little bit.
Yeah, it does feel like it to me. Last 3 weeks at least, Washington's played a hell of a lot. They've been a lot spunkier since the bye. And in fact, if you have a Washington football team win total under, prepare to sweat because what looked solidly like you were going to get that winner to the under, now
they won 3 in a row.
Yeah, and look at their schedule down the stretch.
There's
some winnable games on there. There's some winnable games. So yeah, the tough part, I think I want to say that the Washington football team has played either the toughest or the second toughest schedule to this point in the season. Actually, it's only the 7th toughest. Whatever. They've played a tough schedule. It's getting a little easier. And this is a game that really flips this result for you one way or the other. So you better hope this is an ass in the jackpot kind of performance for Washington.
I would like a tie.
I will take a tie if that tie is 24-24 going into overtime. And then there's one more score because I played the over 49 here.
That's not how ties work. There can't be one more score. There have to be 2.
Saying, I will take a 24-24 tie into overtime and take my chances that we get one more.
Okay.
Yep. Although, who's kicking the ball for the Washington football team?
I don't know. That is a good point. I think if you want to bet this game, maybe look into what they're doing with kicker because Joey Sly effed up his hammy. And obviously they had to go for 2. They were doing some different things. They had a punter on the sidelines warming up, thinking about maybe kicking things. Take a look at this and at your own peril here.
In general, though, Washington football team, I think, can go score for score with this Raiders offense. In general, I think both defenses are one-dimensional. They only offer a pass rush, and if the pass rush is not getting home, then you are going to be able to move the ball on them. Las Vegas's pass rush is going to meet a relatively stout Washington offensive line that is starting to get healthy, starting to play really well, really starting to – the Hogettes are really starting to establish they're starting to win in the trenches. Vegas, on the other hand, really only has Crosby and no one else going for them in the pass rush at this point. I guess not. Ngakwe is good too, but whatever.
Yeah.
You can. They're going to be able to pass pro for Heineke. Heineke's going to be able to pick apart the secondary. Terry McLaurin is a nice matchup in this one. Logan Thomas is back. Did you see Logan Thomas is back? Antonio Gibson, absolutely solid out of the backfield, both running and passing attack. McKissick not likely to go, I guess, or maybe he's questionable. Maybe he goes. Who knows? But yeah, I think Washington's offense is going to be able to score some points here, and I think the Raiders absolutely answer. Really, what you want to know here is, will Sean Hockley be on the field for the Las Vegas Raiders in this game? The answer is no. Sean Hockley will be in Cincinnati eating the spaghetti chili.
Spaghetti chili.
That's your punishment for fucking up the most watched game on Thanksgiving. Sean Hockley, we're sending you to Cincinnati.
Was that the 26 penalty game?
Yes.
Oh God! I did drink too much. Fuck, I can't remember anything from last week. What is wrong with my brain?
Hey, it happens to the best of us, man.
I need to go see a neurologist about this. Yeah,
there's an easy
Curtis
fix,
Samuel
but
playing.
It's not a happy
Curtis
fix.
Samuel playing probably helps with your over here. So, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I tried to say nice things about Pittsburgh last week. Getting that defense back put together. I don't know if it's going to matter if this is if this is the effort you'll get from that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Ben looks rough, man, and their running game is really bad. We talked about it preseason. We talked about it in the preview shows. We said, like, hey, this offensive line is going to be a big problem. It really hasn't come up a ton during the season. Maybe we talked about it some when they faced the Browns or another decent pass rush. Mm-hmm. This is a team that likes to bring some nasty blitzes at you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have, and the way this offensive line's been operating, you're going to bring one of these blitzes, and there's going to be a B gap the size of a truck, and someone's going to come, and the way they do this, they'll find the opposite side of a running back, and Ben is just going to get hit so many times. I feel like I don't like this at all for the Steelers. They're 5-5-1. They're not out of it, but they're damn close. And the Ravens, despite, a few weeks of this defense not looking so hot, it's been okay. Like it's a work in progress. It feels like they've got pieces. It's kind of like the Patriots thing. Doesn't it feel like the Ravens kind of putting it together a little? And Lamar, the problem last week wasn't any other part of the day. It was Lamar. Lamar threw 4 picks and they won. Like, what does that say about everybody else on the team? And obviously the opponent. Like, the opponent kind of shit things up too. But, Lamar threw 4 picks, and he really. I kind of want to hang. I want to hang a lot of it on the Browns, but at the same time, like, they did enough to overcome just a horrific. He didn't even have a good day running. He didn't do anything right.
Yeah. Jeez, man. My feelings are complicated, and I want to spend a little bit of time diving deeper into this as we are winding down on the interesting games. I didn't play this game. Some of our sharp friends really love Baltimore here, for what it's worth. This has gotten bet up to 5, I believe. Is that right?
There's some 4.5s, I think, but it's
circa's at a 5, so they may be leading the market on the way up. Interesting that the Ravens, after that ugly win, are getting bet this week. Last week I thought that was a wrong result. I think the Ravens covering was the wrong result. It is what it is. The Browns only scored 10 points.
I laid 4.5 with that team.
Which team?
The Ravens.
You laid it?
Early in the week.
Oh, you did. Oh.
I got a bad number, and they made whatever. I'll take it.
Fair enough. The question I have for you, ever since the pod we did where I extolled my love for Lamar Jackson and talked about how he ought to be the offensive player of the year favorite, he has sucked.
Yeah, that's been a theme with stuff you've said. Like you're jinxing people. It's funny.
I
it's coincidence,
gave him
but it's
the
weird.
kiss on the forehead of death, and he has sucked since then. And he even missed a game with the freaking flu or whatever.
Yeah, he just had the sick tummy.
Just skipped a game because he was sick.
Bubble guts.
Mike, like, is he gonna snap out of it all of a sudden and be the dynamic player we remember, or is this like a more long-term cycle that he's going through of trying to adjust to whatever they're asking him to do? Is he not right? Is the offensive line such a problem that he just can't operate the same way that he did 2 years ago? Because this offensive line, don't get me wrong, this offensive line is awful. It's awful. It has major meaningful problems, and he's playing around it, and it's causing some issues, no doubt. This offense, nothing about what they're doing looks sustainable, looks good, looks like it will be winning football in the months of December, January, and February, to me. Yet they are the 1 seed.
They are. Yeah, I was going to say, despite all the wins,
yet they are at the top of the AFC North, and they are favorites this week. Meaningful favorites that are getting bet by smart people this week. So you would presume that they go to 9-3 after this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't have to believe that they'll do well in the playoffs to bet them this week, and that's where I'm landing, especially with TJ Watt out. This offensive line isn't good, but you're not going to be even facing what you faced last week.
So here, line this for me. What are the chances that this is because the Ravens have been winning despite playing poorly.
Yeah. Well,
except for that Miami game, they've still been winning, right? And they are in for, if you look at their schedule, I mean, this is a absolute murderer's row coming down the home stretch here. Do you want me to read these games out for you, or do you already know?
I've looked. It's not great.
You've looked. It's really, really not great. This might be their easiest game remaining. In fact, it probably is their easiest game remaining, because when they play the Steelers week 18, it might be not Big Ben at that point. It might be, who knows? But they get
Mr. Bouchard.
They get the Steelers, at Browns, Packers, at Bengals, Rams. That 4-game stretch there after this one, probably going to be meaningful dogs in all 4 of those games.
We'll see what Cleveland comes up with. If Baker continues to just be gimpy Baker, I don't know if it's meaningful in that spot. Case Keenum. I don't know. The market's going to react. You think the market reacts positively to that? Even though I would personally. Despite what we believe, like, I don't believe the market reacts positively to a backup coming in, unless it's Joe Flacco coming in. So, yeah, it just feels like a team that, like, you could probably take a look at some of these other teams to win the North in a futures look right now.
Yeah. That was where I was going with all this. So what are the chances that the Ravens have just been compiling wins while playing poorly, and they're getting their stinkers out of the way, and that they're going to turn the corner and start playing better and be a much more dynamic team? That's one outcome. The other is they've been playing poorly, and there's lots of signal and there's lots of data that says this team is winning unsustainably, and it's going to come crashing to a halt, and their schedule's about to get tough. Like, what's the way this breaks? Because it's one or the other.
Probably the latter. I mean, just because you don't have a good offensive line. You have a defense that's kind of doing the bend but no break in the worst kind of ways, where everybody in the world can tell that's what's happening, and it's not gonna continue forever, especially into the playoffs. And I'm fine taking some shots on some other teams. Probably I'm not taking a shot on Cleveland though. If I had to take a shot on somebody, it's got to be Cincy. Cleveland. So with the Baker situation, I'm not excited about that team winning this division either. I need to break down schedules. Not the time for me to
this
go
is what's
deep
absolutely
dive on
insane.
4 different schedules.
This is what's absolutely insane about the very tough AFC North. Second hardest schedule remaining, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
2 of the games against the Ravens. That's why. Third hardest schedule remaining, the Cincinnati Bengals. They got to play the Ravens too.
Won a game against the Ravens.
The Ravens, 4th hardest schedule remaining.
I'd like to look at those washing out division games, see how they comp with each other without the division games pulled in there.
What the other ones are?
Yeah, just the comparison of taking out those divisional games and see how they stack up.
Okay.
Obviously,
So like the Ravens have 2 non-divisional games left.
yeah.
Packers, Rams.
And that's the thing. Yeah, the Ravens have the worst of it. Like, I think Cincy's isn't easy, but I think they have it a little lighter than what Baltimore has, especially the 2 road games.
Pittsburgh has Vikings, Titans, Chiefs left.
I take that over what the Ravens have.
Bengals have Chargers, Niners, Broncos, Chiefs left.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, I'm moving on. I'm done with this game. I don't want to bet any of these.
Too, man. The Browns have Raiders, Packers left.
If I bet this, I'll be betting the Ravens just because I don't believe the Steelers defense will do much.
Okay.
Lamar ran it 17 times last week. That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, it sure does. Terrible idea.
All right. Yeah, a couple of stinkers here we'll get at the end. I'm going to bet the Rams first half. I talked about this on the other day. I don't know they cover this number, but after a few bad weeks, we've seen this before. I think it was during maybe not the Texans. I can't remember who they played that day. They played a bad team. They're at home. They're playing the Jaguars, who, despite the defense playing up a little bit, I mean, Robert Woods matters. That sucks. But they did bring in OBJ, and if you're not going to get after Stafford, I'm fine taking a first half look here.
I'm still upset, man. The Browns should have started Case Keenum last week. They would have won that game, and they would have won the damn AFC
at
North.
least the second
They would have
half.
won the damn AFC North. All right. I'm sorry. I played the over in this one, Jags Rams. I was wishy-washy about it when we talked about it on Monday. I ultimately pulled the trigger on Tuesday after I caught a flat 47.
Okay.
My angle is not strong. I am expecting a bounce back here from the Rams. It's going to be weird how being at home and playing the Jaguars is going to make Matt Stafford feel lots better. He's not going to he's not going to be feeling any injuries in this one. In fact, he'll be feeling quite good, I think, and he'll get 38-ish points on the board, because that's what the Rams do. They tend to bury these awful opponents. They just put them in the hurt box. And I think the Rams and Cooper Kupp, that's your fantasy combo of the weekend.
Ooh, are we giving out DFS stacks?
Well, I think I think you stack that. I do. It's not a hot take at all.
No, I thought about it. As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh, weird. Yeah. Stack Cooper Kupp with his quarterback.
Yeah, and
Stafford is ailing. That's why
he's not right. Yeah, but I've been saying, you know what makes you feel a lot better? Playing the Jags. I think that's going to make him feel a lot better. In general,
that's like codeine. Or something better.
Yeah, well, maybe that too. In general, this is a good spot for the Rams to flex a little bit offensively. And I think the one thing we do know about the Rams, besides the fact that when they are playing a weak opponent, they have awesome offense, is that their defense is not great. They're not. They're susceptible. They can get scored on. They're going to give up some points here. I don't think the Jaguars are going to get to like 20, but I don't think you need them to get to 20. I think you need them to get to like 17. My fair here, I have the Rams getting to 34. I have the Jags getting to 17. So I think this gets to 51 points. And there'll be potentially some garbage time scores. The Rams don't take their foot off the gas when they're playing the weak opponents. They're trying to rack up points. They need a confidence building win after the last handful of games that they've played. And their schedule, by the way, is not get easy down the stretch. In fact, they are a fuck up away from falling out of the playoff picture in a very weak NFC, really, which is crazy to say. But the Rams finish with Cardinals, Seahawks. Nah, that's easy, I guess. Vikings, that's easier than it looked, I guess. Ravens, Niners are their last two. So actually, it's not as bad as I really remembered. I remembered it being like hell week going in for them, but it's not that bad. Maybe the Rams are safely in the playoffs. What do you think?
Oh, I think so. Just they got 7 wins. That's like 2 spots ahead of all the other shit teams. They're gonna have 8. They're like a 90% money line on here, so you would assume they get this done. Although better teams have failed against the Jaguars, I don't think we see a Bills repeat. The Rams have been good about this, playing a bad team and getting up for it. Like they're not going to have that weird spot, I think. So, yep, Rams first half for me, and then I
Geno Smith scored 31 points against the Jaguars. Never forget. Last time the Jaguars went west, they gave up 31 points to Geno Smith, guys.
Geno Smith's good. Geno Smith should be starting again.
That is an interesting conversation to have as we move to San Francisco, Seattle, where I laid the points with the Niners. I laid the 3. It's trickling up to 3.5. I think that's correct. Major takeaways from Seattle's Monday Night Football debacle against the Washington Football. That was a debacle. They realistically, I mean, they got that one late drive that was somewhat made the score closer than it was. But
did you see Russ's yardage total for the game then?
Before that drive?
Yeah, I was going to say he had 86 of his 240 whatever passing, 250, 60. I think maybe somewhere around 250, 260, but in 86 yards on that one drive. Based down by 8 in emergency time. He was bad. I don't think he's right. I don't think he's healthy. I think that injury in the hand is affecting him. He made some bad passes, and I'm out on Seattle. And also their season's kind of fucking over. You got 3 wins, man. You need to win out to go 9-8. 9-8 might get you into the playoffs, but this team is not winning out. There's no path to that right now. So if you get behind, I wouldn't be surprised. They should pull Russ for some of these games. He doesn't need to be playing these.
Yeah. Okay. So the question then is, what is known about this game, in my opinion, is the Seattle defense played a lot of snaps on Monday. And this is a quick turnaround before playing a very physical team. And that's not good. It's going to be a gross game. It's going to be wet. Thunderstorms potentially, chilly. It's just going to be nasty. Niners, it's Niners weather, man. It's Niners weather, even though it's Seattle weather, obviously. The also known, Pete Carroll will waste downs. He will waste downs on every single drive. He will put his guys in bad positions to succeed, and he will ask Russell Wilson to do things that he is not comfortable doing considering his hand injury. That's what we learned the last couple of weeks. I think it's very clear now. What I don't know is if San Francisco is as good as they have looked. And that's where I would like your opinion. Have you watched much San Francisco? I don't think you've been betting many of these games, but maybe you bet last week.
I had the Vikings last week.
Okay.
I felt like the Vikings deserved better.
San Francisco is grading out extremely well by my numbers. You can't miss it, especially if you are doing some time decay and you're kind of upweighting recent performance as opposed to just taking the entire balance of the season. San Francisco looks very, very, very good. Their defense right now, incredible against the rush. Incredible. And Nick Bosa starting to get a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. In fact, if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm looking over my shoulder here, a little concerned about how many sacks and pressures and forced fumbles Nick Bosa has racked up over the last handful of weeks. He's coming down on the DPOY race. And in fact, you can find him at 41 in some places. I love that as insurance. Do you let Russ cook or do you order Uber Eats? Well, we know what Pete Carroll's answer is to this. He's going to establish Alex Collins at all costs.
No, he is not.
Oh, is Alex Collins out?
We're promoting a practice
Dallas?
squad player. No, a practice squad player. Hall of Famer Adrian Peterson. I don't know if he's going to be activated for the game.
Wait, Adrian Peterson?
He's a Seahawks today. Yep.
So I'm very happy I have some Niners in pocket then. I guess the question is then, what you've seen from the San Francisco defense, is it a reflection of who they have played, or are they actually getting much better? What you're seeing from the Niners offense, is Jimmy G finally comfortable now? Like, he was clearly not early in the season. The Trey Lance experiment did not work this year, and he's playing with confidence and dealing right now. Would you I was blown away, since week 5 to today, Jimmy G has the highest EPA per play of any quarterback in the NFL. Was amazing to me. is this a mirage, or is my read on this Niners team being legit fair?
No, I mean, I feel like the Minnesota offense is much more dynamic than Seattle, and the Seattle defense is not good. Like they've had big issues. Obviously, we saw them hold Washington down, but Washington isn't. I don't know, man. The Niners offense isn't exactly dynamic. Debo out, that stinks. But they have other weapons. You're getting JaMychal Hasty back, I think. You have some more weapons out of the backfield to throw to. I'm not interested in laying these here just because I do worry about they use Debo so much. If they're going to try to do that sort of stuff with somebody else, or just, like, we have to switch the offense because we have to replace what Debo's been doing as a running back. Like Cordarrelle's getting all this love, and Debo's doing it too as a weird wide receiver that's running the ball a lot. It's a thing. Hopefully that becomes a thing. That's kind of fun. So I'm staying away because of the Debo injury, and I believe they have a couple. I don't know if Warner's healthy.
I'll be perfectly frank with you. I think Warner he's been a bigger deal in name than an actual performance this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's above replacement, though. I mean, he's
above
good.
Replacement. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yes, without question. Yes, but
this is a good point too, though. No love lost.
There is no love lost. Yeah,
you could probably throw these records out.
If you were so inclined, you could throw these records out, and I think that's really, in some ways, shading the market a little bit here, because it should be more than 3. The way these two teams are playing right now, the way these two teams, this game was 3 back in September when the Seahawks pulled off the upset in a game where Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt and eventually knocked out of the game. And there was a bunch of other weird injuries in that one. And the Niners were the right side. I had the Seahawks and I was sweating. Ultimately, they win and covered. But that was a 3-point game.
Yeah, I was going to say, you remember the games they played last year or the year before?
They'll come down to the last play.
I'm fine. I'm fine never betting a Niners Seahawks game again in my life.
Yeah. Oh my God, I am sweating out an insane Hawks Pacers money line right now.
And then Seattle does get some home field, especially
30 seconds left.
divisional
Lamb
game.
hits a step back 3. Trae Young loses the ball with 9 seconds remaining. Chris Duarte misses a finger roll layup. Trae Young gets the rebound, 3 seconds remaining. He sent him to the free throw line, makes one, 113, 111. Oh my God, my stomach. Oh, I can't watch this. Sorry. I have a huge Hawks money line out there today. Okay. Any final points here? Are you going to play this game at all? You're just staying away?
No, God, no.
Okay.
You can have that. Like you're on the right side, but I won't bet it.
Do you think Niners make the playoffs? Are they comfortably in the NFC, in your opinion?
So they have a win over Minnesota, and they have 6 wins. They are definitely in the catbird seat, which is silly that they're 6-5 and they're in such a good spot. Yeah, they have a couple decent, especially you get this win, 7-5 puts you in a pretty nice spot in the NFC. He probably, like I said, 9 might get there. And also, here's the other thing. I vowed to not take a favorite in the NFC West matchups this year. Dogs are nothing for me, so I wish you the best of luck.
Atlanta Hawks, 114, 111.
The catbird seat. That's the thing. All right, let's close her up.
Seat is a thing, man.
Denver. Is that a? Just turn that into a
Denver.
verb.
Denver.
Yeah, Denver.
Denver.
We Denvered our way down to Kansas City to play at Arrowhead. Nice little spot for the Chiefs. They're coming off a little extra rest, if you haven't heard. I don't know if
is that what they say?
It's really been brought up yet. Honestly, I feel like it's been light this week so far. Maybe people are just finally sick of it. This is like the Stafford. I almost said Billingsley. That's not the right guy. Kershaw, the Stafford Kershaw thing. Like, yes, we get it. The Chiefs are good off the bye.
What about Stafford and Kershaw?
I don't know. I think they dated
Never
the
heard
same
this.
girl or something.
They dated the same girl. Oh, it's like Madison Bumgarner went to prom with Madison Bumgarner.
Maybe.
You ever heard that story?
I don't want to. Vic Fangio versus a coach off the box is gold. I don't know if that's true. A
Madison
Denver omelet one time. There you go. That's how you
dated a
use
girl
Denver
named
omelet.
Madison Bumgarner. Sorry.
Chiefs are 10-point favorites. Do they deserve to be the way the Broncos defense is playing?
Okay.
I mean, no.
No. No.
Well, if I'm betting this, I'm betting Teddy covers and the gang, and this defense is playing well. Like the Chiefs have struggled with bad defenses or good defenses.
Yeah, especially defenses that can do what the Broncos can do. The Broncos, everybody laughed in the offseason when they drafted Surtain on top of investing in the secondary, because it's like, oh, so you're just going to completely ignore the quarterback position, but just put all of the freaking horses in your secondary. Okay, good luck with that. You're going to need to go score for score with some of the dynamic offenses in the NFL. Well, it turns out actually like they kept Justin Herbert down well last week, and they have exactly the personnel to play cover 2, which has been the big bugaboo for Patrick Mahomes the entirety of 2021 this far. I would expect that they roll out the best of that look that the Chiefs have seen in weeks. In fact, you'll remember very well the last 2 games that the Chiefs played heading into their bye were Raiders, Cowboys. You know who doesn't have the personnel or the defensive coaching in order to execute well on cover 2? The Raiders and the Cowboys. So this is kind of a perfect storm of you're getting a shit ton of points going up against the best possible defensive formation that you would like to have if you are trying to keep the Chiefs under 30. So I think this is going to be good.
What was the day that we bet the Chiefs and they trucked the other? It was the Raiders game.
Raiders.
We bet the Chiefs. We said they don't like. Oh, hey, there's a blueprint. Like, so yeah, you can say there's this blueprint. There's this too high safety look that really flummoxes what they do, and teams can do that. Well, I mean, you can hand me blueprints to build a skyscraper. I can't build that skyscraper. I have the blueprints. I can't do it. That's where the Raiders were. The blueprint was there. They don't have the personnel to run that properly, and they looked like shit. And we easily covered, and we maybe even doubled down on the second half with some Chiefs team total over. I feel like so. Yeah, Las Vegas was not set up. Where's Fangio and this defense is? I actually think this is a super close game. I'm taking the points.
Yeah. I may live to regret this. Andy Reid off the bye may have all of the tricks, but really, Pat Mahomes and this offense haven't looked good for quite a long time. It's really been a while, and they the idea that it's going to all of a sudden all the pieces are going to fall back into place and they're going to look super amazing against this Broncos defense, I have a tough time buying into it. And in fact, I think this actually sets up for another beautiful buy low on Kansas City next weekend.
Yeah.
When they go up against the Raiders again.
Let's just run it back. Second verse.
Run it back. Seriously.
Same as the first. We didn't talk team totals at all, Drew. I feel bad. Usually at this point we've picked a couple out. Should we take one of the totals we're on and look at that?
You know what I was thinking? As long as we're playing with fire.
KC under
30 and a half. Excuse me. What?
Like that journalist. The meme.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the eyes one. Okay. 30 and a half.
The one where he's
do the here's the one. Here's a good one.
The one where we're just doing memes now.
Here's a good one.
This is great for the podcast listeners, by the
30
way.
and a half double take. No, I think other places have it 28 and a half. So you got to shop around, I guess, for the right spot here.
Here's a good point by 8-9, which is a silly name because that's just numbers. Seattle team total over indefinitely until one loses. And then he comes back and says,
"Ooh, yeah.
Under.
Yeah.
He meant under. Clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of martingale the overs, you're just under. Just keep going back to the wall. Press. Press. They're gonna roll 8 again. Press. Yeah.
Pop Smurf.
What do you think, man? What's
130 and a half. It's doing it. We're riding high. We're feeling ourselves. This is like when the quarterback has 2 good drives and then he just shuts one.
I got to ask you for a different one more option, and it's a game we haven't talked about.
The Monday game, huh?
The Monday game. Did you play anything in that?
Not yet.
In your heart of hearts, do you feel like this total is stupid low?
A little, but I can make a case for why, I guess. Like,
because of the weather?
I mean, yeah. And New England is going to just run and get like 3.5 yards of carry and make this work like slowly and really, I think, stymie some of the thing Buffalo does where they move down the field quickly.
Which is why I like the New England team total over 20 and a half.
I really, really think, I'm scared to play this because it's so far away and we might have like a foot of snow and 25-mile-an-hour winds.
Good call. So that's not the one.
The chat played New England like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, the chat is on the Patriots being good. They were way ahead of this because they're smart, and that shouldn't surprise anyone who's been paying attention. We have some smart people in our chat,
especially Anthony Roman.
I'm seeing right now, looking at the weather, I'm seeing snow on Friday, little to no accumulation. I'm seeing a snow shower in the morning on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm seeing temperatures mostly in the 40s, cloudy, a shower in the PM. Could be rain. Ugh. Oh, this could be gross, dude.
If the wind picks up, this will be 41.
No. This isn't it. This ain't it. This ain't it at all. Oh man, this could be really gross.
We just need Mac Jones to have a clean game. And also the other thing I worry about here, Drew, is we've got a couple COVID cases. It's only Wednesday. I worry you bet something here, and I don't want to put this evil on you, Patriots backers. I think you made a nice play, but one of these is going to blow up so bad. We're in cold and flu season. The COVID cases, the positives are real high this last week. I worry that New England is all of a sudden going to pop like 8 guys out.
Okay, how about we flip the
8 men out like the movie?
How about we flip the script then? Dallas Cowboys over 26.5.
Can't we just go with the Chargers or the Chiefs?
Oh, Chiefs under. Do you want to do the Chiefs under? I couldn't find a fairly juiced 30.5. I'm mostly seeing 28.5 out there.
Oh,
which isn't as good, but still
good. All right, Cowboys over.
We think 26.5. Cowboys over.
I'd play that up to 40.
Dak and the boys. Points bet it. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
All right. Let's do it. So, right now, currently, by the way, the AccuWeather forecast for evening in Orchard Park, New York on Sunday. Breezy with rain. Breezy means 22-mile-an-hour winds, wind gusts of 29 miles an hour, 0.3 inches of rain over the duration of the evening, 76% precipitation, temperature, real feel 24. You want to be in 24-degree weather in the rain? It doesn't feel good, man. Your hands get real uncomfortable in that type of conditions. So.
I'm gonna close it out with a chat popped open, and an article was shared. I didn't know it was an Onion article right away. Like, it was small, where it says the Onion. It said Brian Kelly admits that he never actually believed in God. That cracks me up.
Man, he's having a tough week.
He is. I mean,
I don't feel bad for him.
That's what you do on the way out.
Yeah.
You spill the Sacramento wine and you take a little holy water with you and you get out of there. Head to the bayou. All right. Again, I reminded you earlier. I'll remind you again. If you're in the YouTube chats, give us a thumbs up. If you're listening to this in podcast because you still have a job that you have to go to, or you find some time to listen to us at the gym, I don't know, give us a rating on Apple. I don't know how that works. I never do that. I'm terrible about that. I should go pick out a few podcasts I like and actually give them
subscribe to the pod and give us
rate, review. Yeah. You know what? Comments on the YouTube channel are good. If you get those, I'll usually be able to respond to some of that.
That's more like what I'm interested in. I want the actual real-time interaction. Those are our people, you know.
Leave some comments on the if you have a bigger question, put it in the comments under the video on the YouTube. Those are
There you
fun.
go. Those are good.
Drew and I will check those tomorrow, and we'll have some conversations with you guys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, have a good Wednesday.
Yeah.
Get your advent calendars open. Get your elves on the shelves, and I don't know. Is it still Hanukkah?
Sure.
Dan just nodded yes. So, hopefully your lamp oil is continuing to last much longer than you thought it would at the beginning. I believe I have the dogma right there. And we'll see you guys for Thursday night.
I'm going through some of these ref stats. Holy shit, man. The disparity in terms of crews and how often they call pass interference and holding is unbelievable.